Hello and welcome to Zgermanguy Reviews. I am Zgermanguy. We already briefly talked about Bully Herbig. I don't want to repeat myself again, so if you want to know all the details, watch my wiki review. Long story short, a German comedian likes to make fanfiction movies about the TV shows he grew up with. And you all thought the MCU was the most ambitious movie universe. By the way, his version of Endgame exists, and we will get to that. I should point out first that today's movie, and to that extent, most of his movies, are not direct translations from show to movie as it was the case with the dear old Viking kid, but they are movies inspired by his sketches, about the shows it's based on. Which makes me wonder, why do the Vikings suddenly get a free pass? Aside from the fact that they're probably going to chop off your head and put it on a stick when they hear any criticism. Then again, the very best parodies are made by those who are die-hard fans of something, and are actually nothing more than mocking love letters to a franchise. Looking in your direction, films that have single-handedly killed parodies. And are made by people who have admitted to do nothing more than read the Wikipedia article about the franchises they are parodying. But what are we even talking about today? Well, I think Star Trek doesn't need an introduction. Oh, that's the one with the lightsabers, right? Yeah, I have never been big of a Star Trek fan. I can certainly see the appeal, but it just doesn't speak to me. Not my taste. Anyway, Bully Herbig's version is based around this idea. What if Star Trek was gay? But just not ordinary gay. Really, really, really gay. So gay that it would make Mr. Slave say, "Guys, that's really fucking gay." Which reminds me, we are going to need this little gay detector during the movie. Just let me test it out first. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, what a beautiful day. I could go for some big black cock right now. The male penis. Oh, okay, it works. We begin the movie in the Nevada desert close to Area 51. So you are telling me Bully Herbig was the first one who attempted a raid on the facility long before the flash mob with all the weebs showed up? We see a bunch of military personnel walking down the hallway, all competent and confident. Whoever decided to put that in the movie has clearly never seen the United States government before. They open up a door leading to a room completely in white, holding Bully Herbig as gay Mr. Spock. Yeah, that's a good idea to establish first contact. Make the ambassador of the Galactic Federation blind. We go to 300 years in the future. In space! Where the stars are warring. You are too late, movie. I already pissed them all off. Hey, isn't that the same space station as in episode 1? Did they green screen that in here or something? Oh god, there should be a law that forbids to reference Star Wars prequels. Anyway, the Earth Council meets, and it turns out there's an Earth Queen.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. Democracy simply doesn't work.
Here is what's going on. Centuries ago, Earth colonized Mars, but at some point, Mars succeeded from its Earth brethren to make its own, planet nation. In time, Mars became more powerful than the place it came from and thought to itself, you know what, there aren't any good movies in the theater at the moment. Let's try this imperialism thing. And so Mars is putting down its boot on all corners of planet Earth. And nobody likes it. There is a metaphor for America here somewhere. Someone in the Senate suggests that they resort to one final act of desperation. Time travel. Go back, make sure Mars is never colonized, and stop this whole mess from ever starting in the first place. Yeah, sure, and when the Alliance attacks, humanity doesn't have enough manpower to beat them back. I don't even want to get into how stupid this plan is. The first thing you learn in every time travel movie is that even the slightest, most insignificant thing can have world-changing consequences. And he wants to start with a world-changing action. But I get back to that. Anyway, nobody in the army is left who could be considered qualified enough to go on this mission. So they have to take what they can get.
Wir so schön, sind so schlau, sind so schlank und rank, wer man bis waikiki.
We are doomed.
And towel to the left, and towel to the right, and don't forget the willy, drive the willy to the beach.
I say it again, we are going to be fucked in the face beyond recognition. We cut to the spaceship of the crew, named the Surprise. And yes, we are all thinking the same thing. It looks just like a giant spoon. It isn't called the Milky Way for nothing. On the ship, the crew is having its annual health examination. To sum up the next 5 minutes, the trio ignores the emergency calls of the government until a crew member tells gay Kirk that by refusing an order, holidays get cut. They try to beam to Earth, but the distance is too great, so it doesn't work. Meanwhile, the Imperator, who in this movie is called the Regulator, is told by a spy of his that Earth is planning something, so he sends his student to find out what it is. A man with the terrifying name of Jens. What kind of animal can you summon with that? Because beaming doesn't work and taking the Surprise back to Earth is also no option, they have to rely on a classical mode of transportation. A space taxi. I have to get this out really quick. There was this German late-night TV show host named Stefan Raab, who made lots of funny songs. And yeah, he picked this one moment from the movie and created this entire song.
Hi, 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 tigh. Space taxi to the sky. Come on.
The international laws of reviewing require me to talk about every single piece of media that is connected to whatever I am talking about right now. I didn't choose it. So now that you know there exists a song about a taxi in space, said space taxi arrives with Til Schweiger playing the tough as rock driver. Which is ironic because his name is also Rock. He starts his machine and... As soon as they start to talk about midichlorians or some shit, I'm out of here.
Los.
If I am correct about this, then they must now ram a small moon or something, which will serve as an egg so that we can grow our own Galactus and fight the evil Martians back. Also, I'm starting to fear there might be an infertility epidemic in Germany. You and Dieter Bohlen's dad need to create some anonymous self-help group for people with small load sizes, I think. They arrive and get under heavy fire by the Martians. Quick! Somebody play the Indian love call! The taxi is able to outmaneuver their pursuers, and so they arrive in the capital city. Mr. Rock, having gotten his car trashed completely, demands to get compensated, but forgets about that quickly after laying his eyes on the Queen and turning his mind to sexy time fantasies.
Praline.
I think that's worth a doppelping. The crew is told their exact duties. 300 years ago, an UFO was found in the Nevada desert. With the technology it carried, humanity was able to bring people to Mars. They have to find it and destroy it. Before they can get their cute butts on the time machine, however... Great, now I'm starting too. The Martians start their final assault, forcing the Queen and Rock to get on board too. Which is pointless because if it works, the whole world is going to change in a blink of an eye and they will never know that. Oh god, time travel is so fucking confusing. Then again, nobody's in the mood to draw some line graphs when they are getting shot at. No, this is what they have time for.
Ich habe mein BH vergessen.
Hier, nehmen Sie meinen.
Gay Scotty stays behind and is later executed via frying pan. Of course, Rapunzel was evil this whole time! A short time later, well, that is a meaningless term when one talks about time travel, to be honest, our heroes and the Dreamship crew arrive at their destination. But as it turns out, it's neither the correct country or time period. Instead, they ended up in the Middle Ages. Oh, may I suggest that you maybe tone it down with the YMCA stuff as long as you are here? They get quickly discovered and after some jumping around and sword fighting, they are thrown into the dungeon.
12 years dungeon. All of you. Dungeon. 7 years, no trials.
Soll ich mal fester drauf drücken? Fester?
The king then speaks to his prisoner, saying there's a festival tomorrow, and he is one fighter short, so the Rock is put in a knight's garment and forced to play along. Meanwhile, back in the present future something, don't think about it too hard, Lord Jens built himself his own time machine, with the manual the heroes left behind. The king therewhile tries to hit on the queen from the future. It doesn't work. But if it did work, it would create some very interesting political constellations. The next day, Rock is taking part in a tournament, while wearing this. I just imagine what it would look like if this kingdom went to war. Let us just say, the riders of Rohan never looked more prideful. It turns out Rock's opponent is none other than Jens, since Rock and his buddies will be executed if he should fail. The Pink Knight gets hit badly, but after a little bit of cheerleading by Her Majesty, he still loses. That's actually one of the few things I liked about Monsters University. Even if you want something very, 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 very bad, you still can fail. Rock's life is spared, however, when the queen is agreeing to marry the king. For their wedding photo, she wants to sit on a couch time machine thing, which they then use to escape. This time they arrive in the right country, but not the right time period. They are in the Wild West. And I have the next ridiculous costume right here for you, Mr. Rock. Rainbow Spock and Kirk go to the bathroom. Can you blame them? They actually had to go for hundreds of years now. But the evil Lord Jens is on the hunt for them, so they switch clothes. However, there are much more pressing problems on the horizon, namely these guys. I think they might be morally ambiguous. Jens grabs the tool the heroes need to destroy the UFO, so Rock goes after him. Spocky and Kirky therewhile get into a duel with the bandits because they look just like the sheriff and Junior. The boss dude tells his henchmen to deal with the apparent lawman while he goes inside and sells some blankets to some old ladies. Damn, son! You deserve to be a secret boss in the Red Dead Redemption games. The queen saves the lives of the two guys and Rocky returns with Lord Jens' time machine, which is good because theirs got destroyed in an accident earlier. However, Jens managed to put the pieces of their old time machine back together and follow them, so he and Rock fight with some lightsabers.
Hey Dad, that's a cool whip.
To be perfectly honest, that is actually a pretty cool idea for a lightsaber. Kind of like the weapon the Balrog used when he was falling down. When it just looks like Jens is about to reenact Roots, the alien spaceship, which is actually very tiny, knocks him out. Must have been the species we saw on Men in Black that one time. They accidentally kill the alien and destroy his ship, but when it comes to going back home, there's a big problem. Literally. The time machine is almost out of energy and needs less weight to work. And Mr. Spock is exactly that weight.
Pulle hatte recht, ich bin einfach zu fett.
Maybe when we take off all our clothes, then we could... Come on, I was just making ideas here! Kirk is heartbroken, but there is simply no alternative. So they must leave him behind, as sad as it is. But in the future, their crew welcomes them back. And to much surprise, Mr. Purple Suit as well. This goes back to a conversation way from the beginning, where Spock told Kirk on a side note that Vulcans are like turtles and can live for hundreds of years. In those 300 years, Spock wasn't just lazy laying on a normal couch, however. No, he used his time very effectively and changed the world to his liking. And they all called me crazy when I told them that there was a gay agenda. And yes, apparently nobody was ever not born because of what they did. And removing technology that meant a quantum leap in progress from history also had no consequences whatsoever. Anyway, let's dance.
Weil wir so schön sind, so schlau sind, so schlank und rank, wer man bis Waikiki.
Oh yeah, bring it on, girls! All of history should be fucked up, but what do I know?
And don't forget the Soho.
This movie is pretty good. First of all, the production value is enormous for German standards. I keep wondering why this type of action movie has never been done again here. The action and effects hold up pretty well for 2004. Though some of the gay jokes really get tedious, or are just too juvenile, even for my taste. But they keep it overall to a minimum, and they are not only gay jokes. Overall, most of the gags work really well, though they are the type of jokes that work better if you understand my language. The time travel stuff doesn't make much sense, but then again it's time travel and you are not supposed to think about it. What I thought was going to happen was that the people of the past would discover their time machine, therefore making the whole thing a closed loop, or some other paradoxical shit. Anyway, there are still a couple of Bully Herbig movies left, which we will take a look at another time. Thanks for watching, the German guy out, and auf Wiedersehen.